Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Daniel, and today in this video we'll be covering my round 8 game in the Quebec Open Championships. At this point I am 4 for 7 in the tournament, so let's see if I can continue to increase my score. So I'm playing white in this game, and let's take a look at what happened. So d4, knight f6, c4, d6, we go into a Nimzo Indian, castles, all pretty standard. Here my opponent goes for d6, and here I play the move bishop to d2, preparing the move e4. Here after b6, I actually end up playing e3. I had rejected e4 because I thought after c5, d5, and if we trade, then there is rook e8 check, and then after bishop e2, let's say, then after something like queen e7, it's quite difficult for me to play, in my opinion. I thought castles actually didn't work, but I guess castles does, because apparently after bishop takes c3, bishop takes, because the idea here is bishop takes, and then there is queen takes on e2, and after queen takes and rook takes, I am down a piece here, so it kind of limits my ability to castle. However, here I have the move queen captures on c3, which I did not see, because if you play queen captures on e2, then after rook f to e1, the queen is actually indeed trapped. Queen takes e1, rook takes e1, rook takes e1, bishop takes e1, and now I have a queen for a knight as well as a rook, but these two pieces, they aren't active, and this is completely winning for white. So going back, I didn't really like this that much, so I didn't go for it. So instead in the game, I played the move e3, which is like the second best move. It's not the greatest move because e4 was better to completely take over the center with the c, d, and e pawns. However, e3 is still playable. Here, bishop b7 was played, bishop e2. My opponent plays knight b to d7. I play a3 here, kicking the bishop away. Here my opponent trades and then plants their knight into e4, hitting my bishop so they can get it back at any point. Here I castle, rook to e8. Here I play rook f to d1, setting up my rook opposite to the queen, so that maybe I can open up the d file in the future with a move like c5 to maybe put some pressure here, especially with this knight on d7 still in the way. Knight takes, queen to f6, queen g6 is the idea, to put a pin here along with this bishop here, which is still opened. Here I play b4, rook a to c8. Before I was threatening c5, and ideas of if bishop captures on f3, then after bishop captures on f3, I'm attacking the rook in the corner. So for example here, if you trade to prevent c5 or something like this, then here you'll see I'm still attacking this rook in the corner. I can put my bishop on c6, etc. So here b4, rook to c8, and here I play rook a to c1, just doubling up, preparing c5, because back in this position I can't actually go through with c5, because here I cannot take with the d pawn, because then I would simply lose my queen on c3. So here, rook a to c8, rook a to c1, e5, and here I considered the move c5, but I didn't actually like it too much now that the e5 was played, because after e captures on d4, I can't take back with the pawn, because then I would lose the bishop here. So if I take with the knight, then after pawn takes, and then knight takes, pawn takes, there is knight takes on c5, and I will be down a pawn. However, c5 is the best move, because after e captures on d4, I play queen captures on d4, and now let's say queen captures on d4, then here I have knight captures on d4, threatening c6, and if you take, and then here I have the move knight to b5, attacking this pawn, attacking this knight, and also allowing the possibility to capture back. So let's say bishop to c6, let's say, then knight captures a7, forks the knight and the bishop. Forks the rook and the bishop. Alternatively, if you move your knight to f6, let's say, then here I can play knight takes a7. If you play rook a8 to attack my knight, knight comes back to b5, say c6, then I can jump into c7 with a fork here on the two rooks. And after knight to b5, I'm threatening to take. If you capture here, captures, then here I still have the fork threat, forking the two rooks, and this rook is coming in. This rook also has the open file. This just looks better for me. And alternatively, after queen takes, if you can't take this way because I have queen captures on d7. And if you take with the b pawn, then after queen captures on f6, knight captures on f6, pawn takes, rook takes. I do give my opponent a passed pawn. However, this pawn is very easily blockaded and can probably be won in short order. And also the split pawn structure here is not good for black. So in the game, however, I didn't see this, so I went for takes. And here bishop to f1. My original idea was to play f3, but here there is the move queen to g5, attacking this pawn. And I can push e4 here, but I thought after f5, my position was crumbling a little bit because I can't take here because then I would lose my bishop. And here if I play bishop to d3, let's say, then after takes, if I take with the bishop, takes. Here I am actually down a pawn in this position, one pawn on the queen side, specifically the d pawn. And black is getting their material into the game, and this looks like I'm probably going to lose the game. Which is why I rejected this idea and play the move bishop to f1. Here my opponent plays queen g6, and here I actually make an unfortunate mistake by playing the move queen to d4. The reason why this is a mistake is because my opponent has the stunning move bishop captures on g2. After bishop captures on g2, my opponent plays rook g5, and there is no way for me to defend this bishop. d5 is protected by this rook, and e4 is protected by this queen. The idea here is if we play queen captures on d4, I can't take back with the bishop because of the pin here on my king. So my opponent finds bishop captures g2, here rook g5, king h8. Here just the final little trap, so I play rook to g1 here. The idea here is after we trade, I am threatening checkmate here if you move your queen to some opportune square, like let's say you play queen h5, queen captures g7 is checkmate. And queen f6 to defend this checkmate also is impossible because queen captures on f6 is possible. There is no g takes because there is a pin here to the king. So my opponent plays the only good move here, which is queen h6. And at this point, after queen h6, I just try to win back a pawn with queen e4, trying to infiltrate to get to some of these pawns before my opponent can consolidate their position. Queen e6 was played, queen b7, h5, queen takes. At this point, I am losing. I'm just trying to consolidate, see what winning chances I can generate. Here, queen to d1 was not correct. I should have just played h3 immediately. I rejected this in the game because I thought after rook a1 check, king h2, there are ideas of playing like something like h4, like queen e4, queen e5 check. And then I thought after rook g3 and h4, I guess here I do have queen d8 to pick up the pawn, but low time I didn't really see the other move order. So instead I went for queen d8 check first. After here, queen to d8 check first to prevent anything from going to h4. Here after king h7, h3, rook check. And here I thought I was consolidating, but in fact I am losing here. With low time, I just played the move f4. Rook g3 is another move I can play, and that was the reason why I played queen d8 check to prevent h4 in this position, because here I can simply take on h4. However, here this position is still lost after something like rook to c1 to attack some of these weak pawns on the queen side. And let's say I play queen captures on b6, and here there is the move h4, so my queen's pretty much really tied down in this position, which is quite unfortunate. So f4, and here I try to generate some drawing chances, but at this point I'm just completely lost. And so this game ends with me resigning here on move 42, as seeing that checkmate n1 will follow after queen d1, and rook captures on d1 would be checkmate. So in general, not the best game. Blundered the tactic in the middle with bishop captures g2. Should have taken a little bit more time there and be a little bit more cautious instead of just sort of thinking that it was going to be a draw, or it was around equal, or there was chances for me to win. Should have taken more time and considered my options more thoroughly. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed this game, and thanks for watching.